And good evening. This is the Elliott Wave update for the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100 for Tuesday, March the 19th, 2024. I'm going to start with the S&P, and I am beginning here on the 4-hour chart. And today, still, coming in, it was a little bit of a confusing pattern, and I was wondering and attempting to just kind of figure out what was the market trying to tell us? What was the market attempting to do? And finally, clarity did come in. And so I'm going to start here on the 4-hour because, again, we're in that minor fifth wave. And within the S&P, we've completed minute waves 1, 2, 3, and 4, which put us in the minute fifth wave. And the overall pattern for minute wave 5, in my view, is a diagonal triangle to complete. So dropping down to that 1-hour chart. Let me see if I can get all the way. Yeah. Dropping it down to the 1-hour chart where we can just take a look at minute wave 5. So I have minuet wave 1, minuet wave 2, minuet wave 3, and then as all this confusion that started finally brought some clarity today. I believe what it has done is now complete. So let's just kind of talk about that and look at it. What we have, in my belief, is a wave 4 or a fourth wave triangle coming in there. So here's the A, the B, the C, the D, and the E. So yesterday I had thought, okay, wave 4 here, and then this could be wave 1 or wave A of this wave up. But then we've got a pretty strong downswing, which could have been 2 or an AB. But then I backed it up and I thought, this needs to make sense. And so I am now going to leave it as is and let's see how this market kind of comes through. It does match up with a lot of the cycles, I should say, that are coming in now, the shorter term cycles and the intermediate term cycles tend to kind of overlap a little bit. So we're looking for a low, a cycle low, and could have come in today as the market came down and touched 51.86. That could have been the point where the cycle bottomed and likely started to turn higher. We certainly did bounce off of that low this morning very strongly, with the market just kind of just starting to hike higher and basically remain in that position or in that mode for most of the day. Now, again, kind of coming in now, looking at a 15-minute chart, bringing it down again. And as I left it yesterday, let me just one other thing that I want to just review on the, I want to take it on the hourly chart. If you remember yesterday when I was talking, we were looking at the moving averages with the 200 now seeing yesterday as we kind of came out of everything was basically kind of being threatened a little bit. And during Globex actually came down and broke that hourly 200, regained it, came back, broke it again, regained it, broke it a third time, actually fourth time, and then dropped. Then it picked up. So it's what I talk about when I say when we can solidly break that 200, it's going to produce some additional selling. It's going to produce that downside pressure, which it did. And all the way till we basically were coming into our opening, and just prior to the opening, the market reached a low at 51.86, and then the market opened, and then we just kind of went up for pretty much the entire session until we got a little bit of a pullback about the 2 o'clock hour Eastern, reached that low, raced up for the close. So I am feeling much better about the fact that the market did kind of trace it out and make it clear as to what actually was going on. So once again, A, B, C, D, E. And if you remember, as I was speaking even yesterday, I was like, it's very difficult to count, because it's all threes. And as we know, within a diagonal, not, or actually within a wedge, within a triangle that's wedging, like in a fourth wave, that's what you get. Three waves, three waves, three waves, three waves, three waves, and then launch. Now, I have connected the fibs a couple of ways. First, I have for wave 5, and I also have for what normally does take place is when the triangle is complete, it thrusts up and out of the triangle, and often the length or the width of the triangle. Now, if we're taking that width from here, it broke it, right? Because that would be coming down this way, and it did break. But if we're taking the width of the full width of the triangle, then we're just going to take a peek. So where would that 100% marker come in? Right there. So the 100% marker comes in at 5281. And honestly, that might just be wave A of 5. That's my thought process is that it's wave A of 5, and then we might get a B. Now, otherwise, this other dotted line that's kind of coming from over there is from the top of my minuet, wave 1, and as it now relates to minuet wave 5. And here we have 618 is 5301. The primary B wave, the 1.382, part of the irregular B wave, is 5307. So here we have a cluster. Now we have a little bit bigger cluster. This would not necessarily, it could be wave A, and then we come down into B, and then we get the C wave, which could start to bring us up into here. Now, minuet wave 5, to complete minute wave 5, could be actually get all the way up to here, right? Because that's where 5 would be equal to 1 at 5373. The 2.618 is, I believe, for, let me go back out. I want to get my numbers correct. So let me go here, and it's going to be minute wave 5. And then that's going to be, actually, it's even back further. So this is up, actually up here, minute wave 5, 2.618. So that would suggest that the other levels have already been exceeded substantially. Yep, there they are, very substantially. So we take them out and we look, if we then look for that level and minute level. This has got to be for minor. I'm going to go all the way back out. Yep, it is. There's minor. No, actually, sorry, one additional. That minor is way up here. So everything's been, as far as the minor fifth wave and the minute fifth wave, the most common equality's been surpassed. The next up for both, which is 1.618, has been surpassed. So it leaves 2.618. And the minute fifth wave, 2.618, is 5365. Minor is 5526, so it's way up there. Where this 100% comes in at 5251 is wave C. So let me bring this back, because it kind of, you'll see how these all kind of connect. Now, we've already gotten above it. So it may present a little bit of resistance, because you can see we got above it, came back, got above it, came back. Well, let's see now, because what would be the key is that it breaks it, which would fulfill that fib requirement, but we're still going to be looking for more because we're inside of this particular wave. But so as we got 5251 to 5281, now kind of beginning to show us that we might find some strength in resistance in this area. So I will continue to include this, but it's going to join. So even if it's an A or A and then a B and then a C, or A and a B and a C, it's now tending to fit right? Because don't forget, this is minute. Actually, 618. It gets confusing because we got a lot of numbers. So this would be the triangle pattern where it would reach, the width of the triangle. That could be wave A. This is now really going to be lining up. This might give us a little boost. Once we get it, we might see a little bit of a additional thrust up and out. Simply because we're getting above these levels, that would be the third try. And then we get up to here. And then this level now is again, as I just stated, gaining some strength in small cluster, but still some strength that is going to likely be in the picture. Again, once these cycles do bottom, we've got a couple. We've got some that are kind of coming in on a very short-term nature. We get that swing up, and then that it fits on the intermediate degree, intermediate level cycle, that it's turning. So then it's going to have that force where it continues to drop and reach its low. So we're looking for that cycle low at the end of March into April or the end of April. So a lot of stuff kind of can push it up cycle-wise and then bring it back down cycle-wise. So again, and then if we're also just going to talk about gamma and options and how they've been trading and what we've been witnessing and what we have been seeing, particularly in NVIDIA, which has been all over the board again today. So we saw what I thought, or excuse me, where I thought possibly was just like just a gamma push or just some institutional selling, but it was being done in NVIDIA and it was being done in AMD. And so that kind of was dragging everything down. Meanwhile, Microsoft is like doing really well. Meta actually started to get hit again. So there was just a combination of what was the push-pull within the NASDAQ. And then eventually the Dow kind of took over and started to lead along with the Russell, which saw some early weakness. So again, strange day, but I believe if I kind of go back, we're going to see that most of those indexes, not just the NASDAQ and the S&P, were really forming triangles. And now that we're breaking out of the triangle and heading to finish 5 waves. So again, that's kind of going to be the area that I'm looking at right now, 5301 to 5307. We've got some outside numbers, we sure do, up at the upper end of the 5300 handle, so to speak, 5350 to 5375 as well. So all they remain in the picture. So we shall see. Again, moving averages, like I said, they rescued themselves, and what was a good thing is they basically, as I suspected, once we caught that bid and they started to rise, you see the 4 and the 8 get right back above the 20 gets right back above the 50. Now we're back in alignment to go up. So while if we would have continued to break down, we would have been all in alignment to go down and you would have seen it. But they rescued themselves, they got themselves back in alignment, and they started to just hold on. And you can see they all kind of went. So we got the 50 turning higher, hourly basis, 50, the 20, the 8, the 4. The 200 will start to cruise just slightly. Not expecting that much. I think this could stay kind of on the flat side to a very slight upward slant. All right, let's go over and take a look at the NASDAQ. NASDAQ, the wild puppy, I'm telling you, boy, just all over the board. But here again, this, as I was speaking last night, was like, wow, I got this high, I got this, and this is pretty much a substantial high, but I'm going to leave it the way that it is. Now, when I got done doing the S&P, I came over to look at the NASDAQ. I thought, okay, what's going to work for a triangle pattern here in this wave 4? Initially, I'd put the wave 3 over here, and that would have left A, B, C, D, E much, much, much more sloppy, and would have been parallel instead of diagonal. So left the 3 where it was. A, B, C, D, E. C wave, very drawn out. B wave, still 3. A, 3, and the B, 3. So the C wave, a little bit more, and then more pronounced coming down. And then we got a D wave, which I had labeled last night the possibility of it being wave 1 or wave A of what I was going to deem wave 5. Then we got this big downturn again, and it came down pretty far. I mean, I thought, oh, good, we're going to head for 18,000. And if that would have break, we'd all would have sold. Because then it would have been more indicative. It's like, okay, everything's done. Everything's done. 3, 4, 5 done. We're all moving, and I wouldn't know what we're going to do here. So trusting that the market was going to be the one to tell me, I just kind of take a stand back and attempt to trade what I see right in front of me. And so not the easiest day to trade. They were shifting things around, again, hitting NVIDIA. And just suddenly NVIDIA would find the sellers and just bam, and like the market would drop just because it gets somebody selling a large amount of NVIDIA and they just hit it and it drops. It was kind of weird, but hey, tradable. Now, what does this portend to tell us? If it is, again, I'm just going to pull out to my 4-hour chart and let's take a look up here and let's pull this open. So here we have the 5th wave, right? So that's where it starts off of 17,467. So we have wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. So ABC, 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 A, B, C, D, E, triangle for 4. And then we begin to thrust up and out of the triangle. Now, I just think this thrust is just beginning. They didn't quite have enough time to really kind of get it going as we saw in the S&P. So I would suspect that we'll hopefully continue to see NVIDIA's continue to be pretty volatile. And we race it up and they bring it down and then they sell it in this secondary hour that we have after our regular close. So, I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt that the market will continue to catch fire and go. Otherwise, it's going to move back into being a very difficult type of account. So right now, I'm leaving it as the 4. Everything seems to be in place. And really it's a triangle within the triangle, the diagonal. So it's just a wedging within the diagonal. So it's a proper finish for this a year and a half, and probably longer, about a year and 6 months from October of 2023. So here we are getting ready to punch into the month of April 2024. And we're still kind of putting the finishing touches on this whole thing. So right now we're about 2 months into it, right? So the minor 5th wave started at the end. Actually, it's a month. We're in a month into it because it really began probably on February the 1st. And so we're now just still March the 20th tomorrow. So what am I looking for from here? I am looking forward to kind of head higher. And what I've matched up now is if it's going to do the thrust of the triangle. First of all, let me just talk about minute wave 5 as it relates to minute wave 1. Equality sits up here at 18,953. Above that, we have the 1.382 for the primary degree B wave, and that comes in at 19,167. Now, if they're really, I mean, all the words coming out from this conference that NVIDIA is putting on in New York City and this new chip that's going to like revolutionize even more than NVIDIA chips are revolutionizing artificial intelligence. Now, their CEO is the one, of course, doing all the talking. And what I've noticed is that when he's also the one that talks for all of the earnings reports. And he's a great spokesman and a good cheerleader for NVIDIA and for the stock. So let's see if, because initially we did see that the stock sold off hard this morning, went all the way down to $850, then raced up. I believe the high was 904 to 905, maybe a little bit higher today. Then came all the way back down to like 880, then ran back up to 900. So it's just been all over the place as thousands of options are trading. Let me just put it that way. A lot of options are trading. And I think this, not just for that expire this week, but next week, and of course into April and May, et cetera, et cetera. So a lot of options trading in NVIDIA. And so as each one gets placed, hedges are put on. So stock is very, very active. And I think is going to stay that way. Let's see if the buyers come back in overnight. We're going to give Asian markets and the European markets their chance to kind of come in and give their 2 cents of what they believe in NVIDIA. And if it just provides an additional boost and the Dow and the S&P and the Russell continue to rally, then I suspect that we will have a very solid update tomorrow. And I would be looking again. So if we continue to break, of course, there's going to be some resistance. Now that's a 4-hour chart. Let me bring it back down. Let's go down to all the way to the 15-minute chart and kind of open this up so we can see. We're going to be counting it, right? Because what we're looking for is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave A. So if we're taking it from that low, again, 15-minute chart. Right, so we got 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was a 3, 4, 5. That was the 3. A, B, C, 4, and a 5. Possibly to finish wave A. So if I really don't have anything to connect to it in terms of that triangle pattern. So and right now I don't really even have anything that I can connect to it on this to give us that upside, except 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a 3, 4. So I'm going to go, I've got to take it from this one, I believe. Well, let's just see what we got. So right now, if this is the correct count, right? So we got 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 3, 4, 5, this 3, yeah. So this is all part of that 4. And if it's done, and we're going to start to go, where our first is that equality is 18,295. I'm kind of hoping that we kind of get past that. We get over that hump and we continue to go. So the next one up would be 18,344. And what we'd also be looking for now, remember, this is just going to be a 4th wave. And inside of, we have one more, right? So if this is 1, 2, 1, 2. All right, so this is just going to be finishing a 3rd for here. And we get another 4 and then another 5. So this could finish this 3. Then we get a pullback and then another rise to finish this 3. Well, if that is the case, so here's the deal. If we kind of get up and we start to pull back, it could suggest that just this internal 3 of this first 5 up to form wave A. We get that 4, and then I'll connect it to this. And we'll get a different set. So, because we're looking to get back above here, 18,006. What is it? 18,682. That's what we're looking for. I would think at least, well, wave 5 for sure. But I'd like to get wave A up here, to be honest with you. So I'm hoping that we get a lot of these stocks just keep on going, like Apple. If we get Apple, Meta, Microsoft, Nvidia, Netflix, everybody on board, and Tesla even, get on board. We're all going to push. Then we're going to have a NASDAQ that's going to look like the Dow did today. And from here, we're up here. And that's exactly where I'd like to see this wave A get to. We do another pullback, and then we just rally to put the completions on all of this. And that should then, I believe, kind of come in as these larger cycles start to really put their downside pressure on stuff. All right, moving averages here. Let's go back out to the hourly chart and open it up to see what it looks like. Right now, see, we still had, they all fell, and they fell hard. This is the, actually, I want to take the 4 hour. That's going to be the more important one. So on that hourly chart, they're getting there. On the 4 hour chart, you can see the 200 got broken, produced a little bit of a slide, but the challenge got close on the 4. There's the 8, there's the 20, there's the 50. So we're going to be looking for, right, the 4, the 8, and the 20 to get back above the 50, and then we are back in alignment. So that has not happened yet. Getting close. Getting close. The 4 is now getting back above the 20. The 8 wants to get there as well. And then together, all 3 will get above there. And then we're in alignment to go back up. And I think we probably got to get back above 18,300 plus to kind of achieve that. Okay, so I am going to finish it there. Now, tomorrow is Fed Day. And so there's no other data that will be coming out until 2 p.m. Eastern, when the FOMC interest rate decision will be announced. Now, it's pretty well being accepted across the board that it will come again unchanged, leaving it that the target is 5.25, 5.5. So that part, I think, is already baked in, and nobody's looking for the surprise to come there. But all ears, eyes, everything will be looking at Jerome Powell at 2:30 p.m. Eastern as he gives his press conference. And again, as I've been saying, and now I'm even getting from the news, that everyone's going to be listening to the tone of the press conference. Is it going to be hawkish? Is it going to be dovish? Is it just going to be still right in the middle? Is it going to be uncommitted? No commitment from anything. Just we're following the numbers, and we still have faith that our target will be reached. If he's going to regurgitate the same old, we'll see what the market really wants to do. But then, guess what? On Thursday we have some bigger numbers that I would believe that the Fed already has the inside and knows what they're going to be. So what do we have on Thursday? We have initial jobless claims. We have Philly Fed manufacturing survey. We have S&P Flash U.S. Services PMI, manufacturing PMI. Big one that comes out at 10 a.m. Eastern on Thursday. U.S. leading economic indicators. That one is probably, along with the PCE, the most important that the Fed looks at when it comes to interest rates. That doesn't come out till Thursday. Let's see how this all filters through. So I'm kind of hoping tomorrow, leading up to that rate decision and press conference, we manage to get ourselves up above all of this mess in our markets, and so that we have plenty of room to pull back without destroying what we got. So this is where I'm going to leave it all for today. Next update will be Wednesday, March the 20th, after the Fed.